Hello everyone, I'm Bets Golden. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am going to be experimenting with Distress Oxides, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I am not a mist fan, basically because it's messy and it's unpredictable. So I have been avoiding the Distress Oxides for some time, but my Hobby Lobby had them on sale so cheap that I just literally could not resist. And I thought, you know what? As a content developer, designer, I really need to try these and give them a go and just see what they are and, do something with them. So that's what I decided to do. Distress Oxide sprays are unique in the sense that this isn't mica down here. So they say to shake it side to side before you use it. However, that can take a little bit longer, so recommended just to hold something over the neck and shake it like so, and that'll get it all ready to rock and roll. Also, what's unique about Distress Oxide sprays is that you don't have to follow the color family rule as much as you would have to with the Distress ink or any other sprays that are water-based that can mix together because you'll get mud. So I wanted to experiment with that a little bit. And I have to say that Distress Oxides have completely changed my mind about sprays. Between a Distress Oxide and a Distress ink, I've always favored Distress inks because of the vibrancy on it, and I've never really cared for that chalky look in my art. However, it dawned on me that to avoid the chalkiness, you just don't add water. So I want to create a couple different cards, tags using this, backgrounds, just to show a couple different things that I've learned as I've played with this. I am using Tim Holtz Distress tags for this. It's a mixed media. Since I'm using his product, it just seems like it's easier to do so. So for this ombre effect, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start off, I'm going to use Picked Raspberry, Mermaid Lagoon, and Wilted Violet. And so I'm going to start off with our Picked Raspberry, and I'm going to put that up on the top like so. And then on the bottom, let me hit that with some heat to set it. And that's what's so special about this is you can actually, set it. And then if I get anything up there, it's not going to blend together. It's going to stay true to the pink. All right, and then for this one, I'm going to do on the bottom Mermaid Lagoon, like so. And again, I'm going to hit this with my heat gun. And then in the middle, I'm going to put Wilted Violet, because if you mix a pink and a blue or a red and a blue, you would get purple. And then I'm going to go back over one more time and hit the top with the Picked Raspberry and the bottom with the Mermaid Lagoon. And I'll have a beautiful tag. Okay, so I'm going to go over the top one more time with my Picked Raspberry. And I can also hit the bottom with my Mermaid Lagoon. And then it's not quite dry, so I do want to pull up a little bit of color with a little bit of water. So I'm going to do just some droplets like so. I'm going to let that interact as I set this aside, and I'm just going to pull up another card, and we're going to call this my junker card, and I'm just going to pick up as much of this as I can. Some of it's dried, so I'm going to have to activate it with some water. And this will give a chalky finish, but that's okay. It's not bad, it's just my preference is vibrant. And since I did respect the color family on this, and it is mixing, it's okay. I'm not gonna get that mud. All right, so that looks pretty good. We're gonna set this aside so I can use it on another project as I clean up this. You wipe this up real quick. Now there is a splat box that you can use when you are doing this. I recommend it, but for filming, it doesn't really lend itself too well for that. All right, so this has started to pool. Let me get a clean paper towel and just lift up some of those water droplets that I have down. And now we have a really, really cool background. And if I wanted to make it like that really shine through, because this doesn't look all that chalky, and the reason why you get a chalky look with oxides is because when you put water on it, it lifts the color, see? So it leaves like a white residue. So that's why you have that chalky look to it. So what I did was I just lifted the color. However, it does start to oxidize a bit with the water, and you know, you do get chalky marks here and there. So to keep that vibrancy, I can go ahead and apply, after this is dry, a distress glaze, and I'll do it at the end, and it will definitely bring the shine back to it and the intensity back. So let's go ahead and do a different one using some different colors. We're just gonna lay out pretty much every color that I have in front of me just for the fun of it. So what I'm gonna do here is make sure I have that pretty nicely picked up. And I think I wanna start with some spiced marmalade. So I'm going to just spray it, dry it, and then just keep spraying it. All right, so that's going to be round one. Let me lift that out of the way so I can take this card and just pick up some of that. All right, I'm going to hit that with my heat gun real quick so that I can get ready for the next. And this is just my junker card. All right, let me just pick this up. And then let me just hit this, because I want it dry so that when I put the next color on, it just layers nicely. Okay, so from here, I've done my spiced marmalade. Let me go ahead and just throw on some faded jeans. Now, normally if you were to use this with something that was water based or dye based, you're gonna get mud. This shouldn't give me mud because there's pigment in this and it sets on top, so it shouldn't give me mud. I should be able to get just that beautiful color through. All right, and again, I'm gonna take my junker tag and pick up as much of this excess as I can. Go ahead through with this, because I don't really want to cross-contaminate the colors when they're wet. Hit that, so it's ready for the next one. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some peel paint. Again, take this, throw some down on this, like so, lifting up in those spots that are still manilified from the folder, and pick up my excess here. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the gun. All right, so from here, I want to throw on some picked raspberry. We'll just kind of do that all over, set that aside again. We're gonna just use our little junker just to pick up what we can. All right, that's looking pretty cool, I would say. Pardon me, I'm at the end of my cough, the end of my cold. All right, we're gonna hit that. Now I'm gonna throw on some Mermaid Lagoon. This time I'll flip the card. And I'm just doing subtle squirts from here, kind of all over the place. I just want to see what it's going to do. And I'm dragging this through. Okay, so there's this one, this background. And I haven't used any water yet because, you know, I'm trying to avoid that chalky look. So if you don't add water on this and just set it with heat, you should be good. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna put on our wilted violet. This should create mud because of all those colors, but we will see. And let me move this over here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw some water on this and just get one last dip. This is gonna start to oxidize it. It will start to turn it white. That's to be expected. That's kind of what it does. All right, still super pretty. Loving it. And as it dries, that's when we're gonna start to see that white really come through. I'm gonna throw on just a hair of some water, let it kind of interact, pull up that color a bit, and then I'm going to go through and pick up that color with my paper towel. And I can definitely see where that color, where the water lifted the color. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to heat set it because once you start to heat set it, it gets hard to move. So I am just going to put down that water like so and let it set up for a second. As I let it set up, I will work on cleaning off my space. This is really cool, my junker card. I love it. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and just lift that color up. And do you see how it lifts the color with it? It oxidizes it, kind of turns it white, kind of bleaches it out. Love that, so cool. So I'm going to heat set it, make it permanent, and then we'll move on to another one. All right, so for this one I want to make, I did it one with our cool tones. So for this next one, I want to make one with our warm tones. So I'm going to use picked raspberry and spiced marmalade for this tag. So I'm going to start off on the top with my spiced marmalade. And then I'm going to put on the bottom my picked raspberry. Set that off to the side. Pull in my other card, my junker card that I've already started, and just start to lift some of that color up. And since the card is wet, the tag is wet, you can already tell where it's starting to oxidize and on my mat, which I think is super cool. And the fun thing is with this, if you don't like how it works, unlike a distress ink, you can just continue to lay color out until you get what you want. I liked it the other way around, but this is fun just to see what we can do with this. All right, I really, really like how this card, the tag we just sprayed, is blending. So I'm going to hit that with a heat gun. And then we're going to put on top of it a cool color to kind of finish it off. So let me hit it like this. So I'm going to take, I really, really like Mermaid Lagoon, and I think it'd be really pretty just spritzed lightly over the top of this. So I'm only going to hit it once. Like so. Hit it with a little bit of, actually I'm going to set it aside to cool. Again, pull out my junker, start to lift this up as much as I can. And then there we go. Like, I'm really loving this background tag. So awesome. And then I'm going to hit this. All right, and then from here, I'm actually going to take my water and let me hit it with a little heat first because I don't want to oxidize it that much since the Distress Oxide is still wet. All right, now I'm going to take my water and pour out just a couple drops like so. It's already starting to react, already starting to move, which is good. I'm going to let it sit for just a second, and then we will start to lift that up like so. So Distress Oxides have totally changed my misting game. I actually enjoy misting now. I really like this, and I ordered more. So here are the 4 tags that we created. And let me show you what the Distress Glaze can do with this. It's pretty nifty stuff. Basically what you do is Distress Glaze can be used on a multitude of different projects. If you're using Distress ink and you like the way that the Distress ink ends and looks and you don't want it to move anymore, you would actually apply it to your project the same way that I am applying it to this, and then you have something that won't move. It will not water reactivate anymore, which is wonderful if you're working on a collage or something like that. If you want to work with it with Distress Oxide, what this does is it creates the oxides to bring back some of the luster that was lost when you with the chalking effect when you oxidized it. So I'm going to just make sure this is nice and dry. Dry the back, always dry the back. And then once it's nice and dry, you can go ahead and put on your layer of Distress Glaze. And I actually have a couple of these already done. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to give my hands a little bit of a rinse here just to make sure that I don't have a bunch of ink on them that can transfer into my Distress Glaze. And then I will go ahead and apply my glaze so you can see what that does and how it makes it, it just kind of takes the chalkiness away. Now, this is actually perfect for the sponge tip applicators, but I just use my finger because I find that using the sponge tip applicator is rather wasteful. I end up with more on my sponge and I go through my product faster. So I take some off of my fingernail and that should be pretty much enough for this whole project. And you just put it over your tag like so. Just rub it all over your tag. Rub it in really well, like so. And just get it in there. And then you're going to want to take a clean paper towel and rub it off. So you just need a little piece of the towel, and you're just going to buff it off. And now your surface is totally prepped. So let me show you what this looks like in comparison to the one that is similar color, same technique, and it's not, I haven't finished it off. So I don't know if you can see the difference, but this one definitely is more lustrous, I would say, more vibrant than this one is. So that Distress Glaze just really helps bring out that color. All right, you guys, I certainly hope that you enjoyed this video. I know that I'm late to the Distress Oxide spray game. I've been avoiding it, like I said, because I hate mist, because I think they're a mess. And I'm not a fan, but this changed my mind. I love these, and I think that they are a value to every crafter. Okay, if you haven't subscribed, I certainly hope that you consider doing so. Please give this video a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions down below. And until next time, happy crafting.